right, the next topic here with Algebra 1, which is we're continuing getting more advanced here with some of these topics, is what's called absolute value. Now, what's it mean by absolute value? Absolute value simply means how far, I don't want an arrow there, let's cross that off, how far a number is from 0. How far a number away is from 0. So for example, if I said, what's the absolute value of 2? Well, how many units away from 0 is 2? And I'm going to make a line here. I'll label it. I'll put 0 in the middle. Don't have to, but it's just the way I'm feeling here today. I'll put it in the middle. So we'll make a number line maybe like that. How far away from 0 is 2? Or excuse me, I should rephrase that. How far away from, how far away from 0 is 2? Well, it's 1, 2 units away. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. Now, how about if I throw a negative in there? How far away, or let me start with absolute value. What's the absolute value of a negative 3? What's the absolute value of a negative 3? How far away from 0 is a negative 3? Well, it's 1 unit, 2, 3. So it's 3. The absolute value of a negative 3 is 3. Now, if I continued with examples like this, we will always find that the absolute value of a number is always, always, always positive. You might want to write that down. The absolute value of a number is always positive. Because if I asked you how far, if there was a chair in front of you, and I wanted you to measure how far that chair is away from you in feet, well, it's going to be a positive number. You're not going to get a negative number. So when you measure distance, it's got to be positive. And really, absolute value is distance. It's how far away something is from something else. Now, math is symbols. Sometimes we like that and sometimes we don't. Now, remember I asked you for the absolute value of 2 and I asked you for the absolute value of a negative 3. Now, I don't want to, in directions, you one nor would teachers or writers of books want to write out absolute value each and every time. So we use a symbol for absolute value. And it's simply 2 straight up and down lines. They're taller than the numbers. So that symbol, those 2 straight up and down lines means the absolute value. So here, this means the absolute value of 2. What is it? Well, we said it's 2. What's the absolute value of a negative 3? It's 3. All right, let's do some examples. Example 1. I've got a few different ones in this example 1. All right, what's the absolute value of a negative 4? How far away is a negative 4 from 0? It's 4 units away. So really, all I have to do here, the shortcut is all I have to do is take the number inside and take the positive of it. So the absolute value of a negative 4 is 4. What's the absolute value of 4.2? Okay, 4.2. It's just the positive, it's the positive of the number inside. You're always going to get a positive. What's the absolute value of 3? It's 3. What's the absolute value of 3.5? It's 3.5. What's the absolute value of a negative 7? It's 7. What's the absolute value of 10? It's 10. And if you go back to your definition, all we've really done here is we've asked ourselves how many units away from 0 were these numbers? And we always get a positive result. So remember, the absolute value of a number is always positive. Now, let's do some more complicated examples. Now, why are these more complicated? Well, because you got to do a little work inside the absolute values first. So it's not that much more complicated. What's 4 minus 3? 1. So what's the absolute value of 1? 1. What's 7 minus 2? 5. Now, Notice we got a symbol outside that. So what this is saying is take the opposite of the absolute value of 5. First of all, what's the absolute value of 5? 5, right? What's the opposite of 5? Negative 5. You might be saying, hey, that Mr. Hartwig is a liar. He said that the absolute value of a number is always positive. Well, this changes that. If there's an opposite or negative sign out in front, you're actually going to get a negative out of it. All right? Let's do another example. Let's go up here. What's 5 plus 2? 7. What's the absolute value of 7? 7. Right? I don't have an opposite value out here, so it's just a positive 7. Let's go down to this one now. 5 plus 4 is 9. So I'm going to take the opposite of the absolute value of 9. All right, what's the absolute value of 9? 9, right? What's the opposite of 9? Negative 9. All right? I feel the need here to maybe do just 1 or 2 more examples like that. If I have 4 plus 8, absolute value of that, and suppose I want you to also take the opposite of 10 minus 2. See if you can think of what those 2 answers would be. Let's see, 4 plus 8 is 12. So what's the absolute value of 12? 12. Now you've got the opposite here. All right, first of all, do the inside the absolute value symbols. 10 minus 2 is 8. So I'm going to take the opposite of the absolute value of 8. What's the absolute value of 8? 8. What's the opposite of 8? I get a negative 8. So I think it would be pretty a safe rule would be this. If you have that opposite symbol outside the absolute value symbols, yeah, you're going to end up with a negative answer. If you don't have an opposite symbol out in front, here I did not have an opposite out in front, you're going to get a positive answer. All right, topic here with this lesson, absolute value.